Good morning. Welcome to your Tuesday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some words of wisdom for our day. And I handpicked this deck today because there was a particular card, good morning Luann, welcome, I was looking for, and this came out of some thought process. Good morning Mara, glad you're here. I think you're gonna like this card. Out of some thought process yesterday where I was struggling with the reactivity that I was feeling toward some of the comments of things I've posted on my private or on my personal page, and having a sense that there was a lesson in there for me and something I was supposed to revisit. So this card popped into my head. So I picked this particular deck because I knew this card was in here. Welcome to the other two of you who've popped on. I think today's going to be a powerful reading. So I handpicked this card, and it's interesting. I went through the deck and can't find the card itself, but in the book I knew exactly where this reading was, and I've truncated it a little bit because the readings from this deck are incredibly long, but so powerful, so powerful. So our card for today comes from the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle deck by Alana Fairchild, and the artwork on these cards is utterly amazing, but clearly we weren't meant to see the card today, we're just meant to get the message. So the card that I went back to revisit for us is called She Tames by Laying Down the Staff and Rope. And so here are the parts that I've picked out for us today. Good morning, Cheryl. So just a couple of nice deep breaths. Settling into right here, right now. Opening to receiving this message, especially if you also have been bothered by the conflict that's been going on lately, particularly around gun control issues. And just allow this message to settle in, and let's see what we can do with it. All right, I think it's going to open things up. Good morning, Donine, glad you're here. So we have 6 of you to be blessed with this awesome message today. 7, there we go, popped up one more. It is in embracing what is that empowers you to transform it. You can, of course, choose the other way, to pursue, push, and direct. However, you will find it an uphill battle all the way, and it will only get you so far. Isn't that what we've been seeing? We've only been making minimal headway on this whole issue, right? This way, this new way of being, holds more finesse, attains a greater result, and will lead you further along your spiritual path as you learn that the opposites are only an appearance of reality, not reality itself. You cannot embrace and empower one side of a war without empowering the war itself. Hear that line again. That is pivotal to what I think is going to be transformative here. You cannot embrace and empower one side of a war without empowering the war itself. To surrender resistance and even preference gives you freedom. So we need to let go of, we have to have this particular outcome be exactly the way we think it's going to be. I'm going to say that one again. To surrender resistance and even preference gives you freedom. You can then manifest through invitation what is offered from the heart space. So there's a divine right answer out there somewhere here, and our human pushing and pullings trying to make our answer be the answer is part of what's mucking up the works. There is no control here, and yet you will seem to command an army whilst ever your heart is pure and remains true to peace. What you want is possible. Feel heartened about this, okay? What you want is possible, but the way you may be thinking it has to come about is doing you a disservice. Striving will create friction, where surrender and invitation through love will create affinity with the goal. Whether it is your own body, desires, or mind that you have been trying to tame, or the behavior of another in a relationship, or these big issues we're working on. Good morning, Joe, welcome. It is time to make love your discipline. Punishment and judgment, criticism and control are not going to be of benefit here. The wild animal strikes out at force coming towards it. It is instinct. To be at peace, to be open with love towards that animal creates an invitation for connection. This invitation from a place of love rather than fear or need creates a magnetic, irresistible pull of attraction. To allow for timing, to allow for choice, to allow for freedom, these approaches create respect and fertilize life. If you have been pursuing a certain outcome with dedication, discipline, and attention to detail, you are to be congratulated. Do consider softening your approach. This does not mean that you stop any action towards your goal. It means that you soften your mind and heart as to how it can unfold, as to who can help, and even as to when that information or manifestation happens. It means that you pray and surrender to the process and allow the divine love in your own heart to attract what is needed. Focus more on being open and attractive to what you seek rather than being dynamic and in pursuit, at least for now. So this is talking about us releasing the divine masculine way of trying to make this happen and embracing the divine feminine way. Let's see. Many teachers of Zen Buddhism ask you to learn about the opposites, to learn that they cannot exist without each other, and to transcend them. So think about all of these things that we're having conflict over right now. When we rise above it and we view it as an illusion that it's an either or, that it's black and white, that it's this way or that way, then we begin that transcendence. You can begin by letting go of judgment and learning to acknowledge simply what is. You can work through love to become what you seek to experience in the world. And yet at the same time, you will become more peaceful because you also accept life and yourself as you are in this moment. If you are in conflict with another, or even with yourself, you are guided to drop the resistance to the conflict. Drop the resistance to the struggle. Do not put up anything to fight against it. Do not seek to convince or justify or be right. Do not add such fuel to the fire. Just simply be. Do not engage in drama if another is seeking to draw you into their fight or their world of criticism, fear, and judgment. Simply choose to lay down your weapons of control and not join in with this fight. This does not mean you enter into battle defenseless. It means you don't enter into battle at all. And I've read this card a bazillion times, and it's really hard when we are steeped in the environment we're steeped in to grasp this concept, and how could this even work, and what is this trying to tell us, etc. So I'm going to read that part again, because that was the part that stopped me short the first time I read it. This doesn't mean you enter into a battle defenseless. It means you don't enter into the battle at all. You can have compassion in your heart whilst choosing not to give in to another's demands, to be offended, or to accept criticism, or to take on the feelings, moods, or emotional manipulations of another. When you no longer allow another to have power over you, you no longer need to attempt to control them in any way. You become free. So here's the healing process. And again, my guess is your mind is going through a whole lot of yeah buts and what ifs, and there's no way this can work and all that stuff, right? But let's do the healing process together, and let's see where we come out on the other side. So I'd like you to close your eyes. Wild Kuan Yin, Divine Mother, Holy Child, I ask for you to comfort me and assist me in integrating the wise power of your gentleness. Help me find the courage to use my willpower to temper my need to control, and instead learn how to wield, to tame, all of life to the way of love's fulfillment through keeping in connection with my trusting heart. I thank you for the spiritual teaching being given to me at this time, and I ask you for help through unconditional love in successfully applying it to my life and learning love's lessons. May I attract rather than pursue. May I receive rather than grasp. May I see grace as it truly is. Even when it is hidden from the mind's eye, may the eye of my heart be open so that I can see it even then. Help me resist nothing and surrender my need to control or criticize myself or another. Help me to do this whilst remaining so surrendered into the gentle way of my heart that I can choose to refrain from the wars others seek to create, and add only to the cooling flame of love to the fires of war in our world. May you and your gentle power reign supreme. Through my own free will and your merciful grace, so be it. Sit comfortably and place both hands on your chest near your heart. Imagine that within your heart there is a silent but palpable feeling of peace. It starts as just a small vibration and slowly and ceaselessly expands, like a ripple in an endless lake, until there is a soft but ever-growing field of peace emanating around you. You can feel, sense, or imagine a softening effect with this peace, soothing and reassuring, whispered into your being by the Divine Mother, and entering into the hearts of all living creatures. Kindness, gentleness, serenity, comfort, peace. Feel the goodness of that blessing of peace in you and for all beings. Rest in that for as long as feels right for you in this moment. And we finish by saying, may all beings be happy and free. May all beings know peace. May love prevail. Through divine grace, so be it. You have completed your healing process. So now, practicality. How do we apply this? How do we apply this? The first image I want to give you about that is this. We're pushing back and forth against each other, trying to make our thing happen, right? All that happens is we sit here in the middle and vibrate, right? If we release, if we let go, if we don't push, this collapses in a way. So this doesn't mean we don't do things like vote for the things that are important for us, vote for the people who espouse the things that are important to us. But we're doing that from a place of peace. So the actions that we engage in may look very similar to the actions we're already engaging in, but the energy behind it is entirely different. Think about how Mother Teresa did her work, right? She wasn't out ranting and raving and, yelling at people that they had to take care of the poor and the sick and etc. She went about her work. She did her work. She had that energy, that divine Kuan Yin, mother, feminine energy that drew people to her to help her with her mission. She wasn't out there demanding that people cough up money or demanding that people be of assistance to those who needed it. She demonstrated it by doing. And she stayed in that peaceful energy to the best of her ability. And she was human, just like the rest of us, and had her moments, but nonetheless, that mindset, that framework, and there are a lot of people you can think of who behave in this manner, the non-violent opposition, the let's stand for what's important for us, quietly and powerfully. Again, kind of going back to what we talked about in terms of grounding yourself, shoulders back, head up, eye contact. The message being peace and the feeling behind it being that radiant love. We need practice at how to do this, don't we? But again, I wanna create another image. See us all lined up with our arms linked, supporting each other, standing in peace. doing the things that need to be done, voting the things that need to be voted. Again, choosing the people to put in office who espouse the things that are important to us. Really paying attention to our own inner landscape and tending to that. So my meditation for today was expressing global peace. And good morning, Rayford. Glad you're here. This is a really good one. I hope this hits the nail on the head for the things that we're working on also. The centering thought was, my peace is the peace of the world. So the more we can stand in peace, the more that radiates out to the world. And this is a different ball of wax than we're offering our prayers and support to those who've just been murdered. That's not what this is. This is truly standing in that peaceful energy and propagating it in our world. And how do we do that? We do that by voting for certain people. We do that by speaking our truth. We do that by not engaging with those who bait us. That is not helpful. That is not productive. The calmer and more peaceful we can be in responding to some of that, and it needs to be response, not reaction. Good morning, Trudy. Glad you're here. Response, not reaction. How do we stay in that place of peace ourselves, even as the battle rages around us? And as the book says, we do not pick up the weapons. We do not pick up the weapons. We move forward with our tools for change. Okay? So I know that for most of us, this is kind of anathema. How do we do this? How do we do this? I'm going to go back to our thing though. Let go of how. Spirit will help us with how. Your ways of doing this, your tools for doing this will be given to you. Your part is holding yourself open to receiving that, focusing on the why this is so important. We have been doing battle with this for centuries, banging our heads over how do we spread peace instead of war. Again, Mother Teresa nailed it when she said, if you have an anti-war rally, do not invite me. If you have a pro-peace rally, I'll be there. What are we working for? What do we want? That's where we put our time, attention, energy, etc. And number one in that regard, that's what Deepak and Oprah were talking about. That's what a lot of Fairchild's talking about through the Wild Kuan Yin stuff. That's what Mother Teresa was talking about. Mahatma Gandhi, all of those who Jimmy Carter worked to engineer peace. Focus on what you do want. Peace. How do we create peace? Not focusing on how do we end war? How do we stop this? How do we fight that? That's not where we go. All right? So today your mission is to practice staying in peace within yourself and then radiating that peace out to others. You know that when you walk into a room and there's this beautiful energy there. When I went to see Amma, the hugging saint, when I went to see her, you walk in the room and even though there's all this hustle bustle going on and she has handlers and workers and blah, 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 her energy was this peaceful, beautiful, radiant energy right there in the middle of the room. Be that. Be that. Do that. That's where we're going. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you are capable of far more than you think you are, including generating peace within and radiating it without. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.